Can a relationship be saved after infidelity? Today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the process of healing from infidelity. We're going to cover a few key principles that are imperative for the healing of a relationship that, if followed, can produce not only a reparation to things going back to what they were, but deeper and lasting and more meaningful healing in the relationship. What's up, you guys? I'm Tyler, your wandering therapist. It's a beautiful, crisp morning. I came out, run the dog, and watched the sunrise. And I was thinking about the symbolism of the sunrise in relationship to this question about infidelity. That, oftentimes couples go through a struggle. And if you're watching this, you're probably going through a struggle, or you know somebody who is, with infidelity, where it feels like they burn their marriage to the ground. And in doing so, they wonder if there's hope or if there's even a possibility of healing. And today I wanted to talk a little bit with you about the idea and the principles of healing from infidelity. And in a lot of ways, I want you to have hope and understanding that just like the sunrise, it's dark and it's cold, and the temperature is coldest just before the sunlight comes, but when it comes, there is healing and there's hope and there's possibility here. So is it a hard process? Yes. We're going to talk about that process. Are there principles that have to be in play for it to work? Yes. We're going to talk about those principles today. And if that process and these principles are followed, the potential is limitless for the connection, for the satisfaction, and for the peace that you can find in your marriage. But these principles have to be followed. So oftentimes there's a betrayal. That betrayal knocks trust out from underneath the feet of the relationship. And trust is essential to be rebuilt in order to have healing happen in the relationship. So how is trust rebuilt? Trust is rebuilt through consistent effort and action. And here's the key word, you guys: over time. Too often, there's a quick push for quick trust after infidelity. Usually the person who's done the cheating is remorseful and they want to change, and they start to change, and then they come to their partner who's been betrayed and they say, hey, look, I'm different now. It's been a week, or it's been a month, or whatever it is. Trust takes time. Think of it like a bucket that's got a little drip of water coming in, and those little drips of water are the little consistent actions and efforts over time. I start showing up when I say I'll show up. I start following through on my word. I start being more transparent. I start actually opening up and sharing my feelings more fully instead of staying closed off. I start taking new actions that my partner can see that I'm serious about making changes. And with those little actions, with those little efforts, with the little bit more engagement over time, it builds a platform of trust. And once trust is established, it allows for us to be vulnerable with each other. And to be vulnerable is to be seen with everything. And when I'm allowed to be vulnerable in a relationship, that's what builds connection. So what are some of the principles that are necessary to overcome the betrayal and to heal from the infidelity? Number one, we have to have extreme, we call it ridiculous patience. There's a process that takes place. This isn't going to solve itself overnight. Most of the couples that I work with go through a process that takes a couple of years, sometimes longer, before they come back and they say, man, it was hard. I never want to go through it again, but I'm so glad that we did this. Now, the first thing is we need time for healing. We need time for grieving. A lot of times, especially on the betrayed partner side of things, they need space and time and that patience that we just talked about to, number one, overcome the trauma response, to learn how to stay grounded, to learn how to trust my feelings again, to learn how to understand that I'm a work in progress again. We need that patience. So we need patience first. We need humility. And on both sides, for the betrayed person and for the person who has done the betraying, there needs to be humility. And what humility is a deep understanding of who I am, my strengths and my weaknesses. And humility leads to willingness, the willingness to do whatever it takes to make the healing happen. Most couples who have infidelity, part of the reason why there's not, where there has been infidelity is because the relationship itself hasn't been nurtured. It hasn't been cared for in the way that it should. It hasn't been focused on. And so part of the healing process is to begin looking and focusing back on the relationship. So if I've stepped out on my wife, part of what I have to do if I want to heal it is I need to make my wife a priority. I need to actually put her into my life like she means something to me. I need to spend time with her. I need to make actions and efforts to show her that she matters to me and do that on a consistent basis. On the flip side, if my wife has been betrayed by me, there's an insane amount of humility that goes into the process of forgiveness, of being able to let go, of being able to turn things back over to God. Because let's be honest, when there's been infidelity in a relationship, there is no way to make it fully right anymore. I can't go and fix my wife after I've cheated on her. I wish I could, but that's not going to happen. There has to be something or somebody bigger than me to be able to fill in the gaps. I can do my best. I can say I'm sorry. I can change my behaviors. But at the end of the day, I've left my wife with a burden that she's going to have to deal with that I can't take away totally. It's going to take humility on her part to go through the process of learning how to let go, lay it down, give it back to God. And there's a reason why it's hard to let it go. Number one, justice can never fully be served. Number two, it's protection. If I don't let it go, I don't have to risk getting back into the relationship. And when I risk getting back into the relationship, there's a possibility that I could be hurt again. And so learning how to be humble leads to that ability to let go, which leads to the next principle, which is surrender. Surrender is giving over the outcome. I have to go and do my work. I have to let my partner have the space and time to do her work. And if both of us do that work, change our patterns, live with humility, do the healing that we need, set appropriate boundaries in our relationships, then our recovery can happen. But I have to surrender that outcome. I have to do all of my work with no guarantees that my partner is going to do their work. I have to do that work because that's going to help me become the person I want to be, and hope that that includes having my spouse with me. Now, the couples that do this, what they learn is they learn how to become interdependent. They learn how to know that they can trust themselves, that they know that they would be okay by themselves, and in doing so, they choose one another. Everyone wants to be in a relationship where they're chosen. And where we go wrong sometimes is we get into relationships thinking the other person is going to complete me, when in reality, I need to know that I'm a complete person who's a work in progress, and I can offer myself to my partner. That's how we become chosen, is I get to choose to give myself to my wife. She gets to choose to give herself to me. And in doing so, that's what allows us to be two individual people who have confidence in who we are, and then we choose to be connected, which makes for a really strong relationship. Well, the healing from infidelity offers us that opportunity. It offers us a chance to do our work. It offers us a chance to go into ourselves and to develop ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to trust ourselves, and in doing so, once we've surrendered the outcome, it falls into place. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. If there's anything that I'd want you to get from this video, is that there is absolute hope. I've spent the last 15 years as a marriage therapist. I got to tell you, my track record is not 100% because sometimes divorces happen. I even have to surrender the outcome. But I've seen multiple times, and I've heard it from multiple clients, bump into them years later down the road, and I say, how are things going in your life? And they say, man, we have the best relationship in the world. I love my wife, or I love my husband so much. I never, ever, ever want to go through what we did, but I'm so grateful that we had to, because that's what led to the deep connection that we have. So there is absolute hope. The hope comes from his recovery, her recovery, and our recovery. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you found this to be valuable for you, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're facing particular struggles that you need help with or roadblocks that you're running into, please submit a question. I'd be happy to answer it for you.